How's it, guys? This is Dayvy FPL and welcome back to another Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video we're going to be talking about the Game Week 6 preview. The talking points covered in this video are going to be looking at Trent, Alexander-Arnold and that Liverpool defense and whether we should jump ship on them. We're then going to be looking at some replacements for those premium assets and then take a look at Mane versus Salah as well as Mane versus Sterling for those of you who are interested in that comparison. Finally, we're going to wrap it up with the Game Week 6 captaincy and who I think are the best captaincy options that you should be looking at. So if that's something you're interested in, sit back, relax and let's get into it. So a new season calls for a new sponsor, but here on the Dayvy FPL channel, we like our old. So I've brought back the old sponsor, OneFootball, but with a completely new revamped app. Yes, OneFootball has gone over a complete marketing revamp, new logo, new everything. I've checked it out, looks really good. They kind of took the old app, but just made it better. So I'm really appreciative of that. If you want to go check them out, link down in the description below to go download the app. If you don't know who they are, they're the biggest app on iOS and Android. So go check them out. I personally use them, so I can recommend them from a personal level. So before we talk about the main talking points, the Champions League has returned. A quick thing about the Champions League Fantasy, a couple of people have been asking me, I won't be doing Champions League Fantasy this season again. I didn't do it last season and I actually enjoyed not doing it. Kind of gives you a break from the fantasy side of things and this allows you to watch the football for what it is without any bias towards certain players. So I won't be doing it. We'll be taking a little bit of a break. I definitely will be watching the Champions League games though, and I think that you guys should at least look at the highlights or maybe the stats from those games, because a lot of players from the premium asset teams are going to be playing. Liverpool, United, Spurs even play in the Europa League, so the Europa League games also included in here. But when I think of Champions League, I almost kind of group it with the Europa League teams, so also keep your eyes on those and just make sure your players come out of that unscathed without an injury. We've seen a lot of injuries happen over this past game week to some premium assets that we all own, so just keep your eyes on that one. And it's also nice to know if your players actually performed in the Champions League, because if they're starting against a Champions League side, they're probably going to start on the weekend because the Champions League sides are considered a little bit more premium, so most teams will be playing their most preferable as starting 11. So that's enough of the reminder. Let's get into the video. So the watch list has been updated with one new entry. We spoke about him a lot in last game week's preview. We had the whole Son versus Kane debate. I opted for Son, but Kane actually performed better, but he does come in at a little bit of a more expensive price, currently 10.7 million. But when I'm recording this video on Tuesday, he's probably going to rise tonight. So if you guys want to bring in Harry Kane, just keep your eyes on that one. But 5 goals and 7 assists, not really the assists that we used to sing from Harry Kane, has kind of played a new position that we spoke about in depth. So maybe go check out last week's preview if you want to go for a more in-depth analysis into the English striker. Another English striker that we still have on our watch list is Calvert-Lewin, but I think if you're an owner of him, which you probably are since about half the game own Calvert-Lewin, you're relatively happy that he's on the watch list yet again, because every time he's been on the watch list, he's scored and risen in price. So probably going to be another repeat of last game week, going to score this weekend, and it might just be time to bite the bullet and just bring him in, considering how much value we've lost by not having him in since game week 1. The other player we have here is Jack Grealish. We spoke about him as well in last game week's preview. 7.2 million. I think he provides massive value, especially because of those lovely Aston Villa fixtures that are coming up and just with how well Aston Villa are playing at the moment. So these 3 players are definitely high on my watch list. Unfortunately, I won't probably be bringing all 3 of them in, maybe only one this game week, and it's yet to be seen which one we're actually going to be going for. But this is the watch list. Let's get into the main talking points. So the main talking point I wanted to talk about in this preview, because it's been quite a spoken about thing in the community this week, is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now it might be Trent Alexander-Arnold, it might be Robertson. If you do have Van Dijk, I definitely would be taking him out, but if you don't know, Van Dijk is basically going to be out for the rest of the season. At least that's what's rumored. He could come back before the end of the season, but I wouldn't be holding too many thumbs on that one. So with Van Dijk out, I really do think that the Liverpool defense is going to be hindered. I mean, he's just such a massive integral part of that defense and even that attack sometimes with those long through balls that he plays through to the strikers. So with Trent Alexander-Arnold, with his current form, he's not really been performing in those attacking returns as much as he has in previous seasons. And if you look at the stats, what I've gone on to from Fantasy Football Hub, I've gone on to defensive stats from all teams in the Premier League, and I've sorted them by big chances conceded. And these are the bottom 3 sides in the Premier League. Now, I know Man United is a little bit of a surprise there with 15 shots conceded, the most in the Premier League, but Liverpool is the 3rd worst for big chances conceded. However, their shot shots are actually relatively low. They've only conceded 44 shots in total, 29 of those coming in the box. So I do think that those big chances might be a little bit of a regression there if they manage to concede the same amount of shots over the next couple. You can see there that the XG conceded is only 8.4, and I think that would have taken them to about mid-table. But with Van Dijk out, I mean, imagine if these stats were with Van Dijk, what's going to happen without Van Dijk. The one stat that I think is going to increase exponentially is going to be that headed chances conceded. Van Dijk is a massive aerial threat, and now that they've lost him, I think they're going to concede a lot more headers, so that's also something to keep your eyes on. And with Adrian in goal, however, Alisson is rumored to come back towards the end of this month, which is hopefully going to be a boost to that defense. So it's a little bit of a tough situation with Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think if I was wildcarding, I would consider a draft without a premium asset from Liverpool, or even maybe a premium asset in total with Doherty not even starting anymore. And if you don't really have any other fires to put out and you need some budget to put in that midfield or that striking department, I probably would consider it. For my own personal team, I probably won't be doing this move because I simply have too many other fires to put out before Trent Alexander-Arnold. And with some nice fixtures coming up for Liverpool, I do think that that attacking threat and that defensive threat is going to increase from TAA. Robertson right now is looking incredible, so I definitely wouldn't be taking him out. But with TAA, I think it's a little bit of a different story. But I would only do it if I was on a wild card or if I didn't have any other fires to put out. So if you are looking at taking TAA out, I've gone for some replacements here. I've made them quite a bit cheaper, and they all come in around that mid-range mark at about 5 million, 5.5 million, because I think that's probably going to be the most realistic option to go by, because then you can upgrade your midfield and your forward department with that extra cash. You could go for any premium or budget option you want to go for. If you're going to go for a budget option, I would still look at Aston Villa, as they have some really nice options there in their centre backs if you don't own Martinez in goal. Maybe even want to double up on them. But firstly, we've got Chilwell from Chelsea. Now, Chelsea also haven't been keeping that many clean sheets, but Chilwell just offers such an attacking threat going forward. A lot better than TAA this season, and he does come in a little bit cheaper. And I do think over the rest of the season that Chelsea defense should shore up, and I think that Chilwell is going to get a lot more attacking returns from now till then. He's played 3 games fully after coming back from that injury, and he's managed 1 goal and 2 assists. Then we go on to Cash from Aston Villa, newly signed in this transfer window. Comes in at 5 million. Now, he hasn't offered any attacking threat going forward, but at 5 million, maybe you can get away with that, and at least you're still owning an Aston Villa fullback. So he still has that defensive threat of a centre back, but then also that more attacking threat of a fullback, which hopefully throughout the rest of the season should produce some goals, especially if Ollie Watkins gets cracking again like he did against Liverpool. That could be some assists for Cash. Then finally, we've gone for Van Arnold, and I know what you're thinking probably, Dayvy, what are you doing? This is absolutely insane. This man has not played any single minutes, no attacking threat at all, but Van Arnold is kind of a little bit of a punt to go by. Rumours have it that Van Arnold could start at a winger position because of the form that Mitchell has been in, so that could be something to keep your eyes on if he is going to be an out of position defender. I mean, Van Arnold already offers so much attacking threat as a fullback. Imagine that attacking threat as a winger. So 5.4 I think is a good price to go by. I think it's more of a wait and see for me, because I want to see that he is going to start, because Mitchell has actually been playing quite well recently. So I don't think he's going to start on there immediately, but if he does and that match fitness is there, I definitely think that Van Arnold is a good option to go for. So the next talking point I wanted to go through, these are going to be quite quick kind of overviews of these two players. Me personally, I don't own Salah or Mane in my squad currently. I know it's quite weird. You're probably thinking I'm crazy, but I definitely am thinking about bringing one of them in, especially to captain them against Sheffield United, and they also have a nice fixture coming up after that. So Salah versus Mane here, I've gone for Salah in blue and Mane in red. So Mane's actually opted for some more big chances, but in basically every other stat, Salah just trumps him, and that's kind of what we see with Salah. He has a lot of shots, but not a lot of big chances, because he simply just shoots on sight, which is kind of what you want from your FPL asset. I think that thing that tips the ball into Salah's court, however, is the fact that he does have penalties as well. So that's something that makes him an easier captaincy option, and probably going to get more returns than Salah. But this is something that's interesting for me. I think the next thing that we're going to be looking at is Sterling versus Mane, and this was the interesting one for me because a lot of people are considering a Man City midfielder with Sterling, or maybe you're looking at Aguero. But if you look at the comparison of Mane versus Sterling, it's completely different. I mean, Mane is just trumping him on basically every single stat. Look at those big chances that Mane is getting versus Sterling. So I really do think that it should be in your considerations to maybe not even bring in a Man City option, but maybe double up on that Mane versus Salah kind of combination, because I think if Liverpool are going to do well in the Premier League at the moment, it's not going to be because of the defense. I think it's going to be because of that attack. Them losing Van Dijk is going to be a massive implication for them, and I definitely think that Mane and Salah are going to step up and kind of get these wins and draws out for Liverpool that require them to do quite well in the Premier League this season. So this was just a quick comparison, hopefully it was quite informational to you if you are considering bringing Sterling, and maybe you're now looking at Mane as well. So finally, to wrap up this video, we're going to be looking at the captaincy debate. So this week, not like last week, it's a much tougher decision to go by. This is largely due to the form of Spurs and Harry Kane at the moment. I think if Harry Kane wasn't doing as well, everyone would kind of just go for Salah or Mane against Sheffield United at home. Now, Sheffield United, I know them pretty well because I own Ramsdale. I know one of the worst keepers to own in FPL at the moment, but I can just tell you that Sheffield United aren't doing well from a defensive point of view, and to face Liverpool at home up next is going to be quite bad for them. I do think Salah and Mane can have some fun in this game and get some double-digit hauls. So I think they're definitely the best captaincy options to go by, along with Kane. Now, the only thing that makes this a little bit bad is that Burnley managed to keep a clean sheet. I know it was against West Brom, but West Brom, from an attacking point of view, are actually quite a good side going forward. So I do think that that's quite a feat to have kept a clean sheet against them, and shows that they're getting into a little bit more of a defensive form recently from the start of the season. So, but with Harry Kane and Spurs, I think if Harry Kane and Spurs managed to win that game 3-0 and kind of set it done after they scored those 3 goals and not conceded 3, I think they would have made this an easier decision. I just think that kind of draw puts a little bit of a dampener on things, but you can't forget the fact that Harry Kane managed to get so many points in the first 15 minutes of a Premier League game. Surely you can replicate that in any game. And I mean, Burnley, I know that they got a clean sheet, but they're not looking the best defensively, so I definitely think that Kane should be in the talks for a captain. Then we go on to Sterling versus West Ham. Now, if you go for a Man City option, you're definitely going to be going for a differential option, because Sterling is not only lowly owned, I think he's going to be lowly captained. West Ham away, not the worst fixture in the world. It just kind of depends on which Man City side pitches up for this one, because Man City at the start of the season haven't been up to their usual self. And I mean, if they can replicate the results from previous seasons against West Ham, this could be quite a good result for Sterling and Man City in general. So I think these three, as long as you go for one of these three, you should be quite good. I know there might be some more differentials out there. You might think of a Raul Jimenez or maybe a Danny Ings or something like that, but I would probably stick to Mo Salah or Harry Kane. And if you want to go mega differential, maybe consider a Man City option. So this is basically going to wrap up the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like it if you did, and subscribe if you're new and have not subscribed yet. I'll be checking you guys in the videos coming up later in the week and on my Twitter page at Dayvy FPL. I'm going to be signing off. This has been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.